Now, my guest today is a man who was there through the siege of Sarajevo in Bosnia to the early to mid-90s. He fled to the US, arriving there as a political refugee in 1996. He's an author as well, and his autobiographical novel, My Heart Today, It Seems the Day I Was Meant Today, was originally written in his native Bosnia. It's already been translated into English, as you can see behind me. It's coming out as well here in French. It's Le Matin où j'aurais dû mourir. The book, of course, particularly poignant really nowadays, with events continuing to unfold in Ukraine, especially, of course, the refugee situation. We're delighted to have author Semezdin Mehmedinovic, knew I was going to have trouble, joins me now in the studio. Thanks very much for joining us in the programme. Tell us, first of all, of your memories of what it was to be like in Sarajevo during that siege, because you must have been in your early 30s at that point, I guess.
Well, exactly. I was in the early 30s. I was in Sarajevo. I started a weekly magazine with a group of my friends, and it was, really tragic times, And when you are looking what's happening now in Ukraine, you see a lot of similarities. And the people in Sarajevo have a kind of sensitive reaction on what happened in Ukraine, because they have that trauma, okay, from the past, and all these traumas are revived right now. I see that, in my personal experience too. There is something, there is a same or similar, textbook war propaganda we see in Ukraine, like in Bosnia. It is similar images you see, like siege of town. Sarajevo was under siege for 4 years.
It's hard for the rest of us to comprehend because, obviously you see those images and it brings back real life memories. The rest of the world has been completely shocked by what's happened in Ukraine, but for you it must be even more shocking.
Well, it is, because, after Sarajevo, we start to think, okay, this is something that all world saw already, and we can make same mistakes, okay. But the truth is, with humans, they repeat mistakes, okay. And measure of tragedy is huge, when you think about millions of kids in Ukraine. They will live with that trauma, with PTSD for all their lives, okay?
And once you fled Sarajevo and made that journey to the US, what was that journey like, being a refugee and then trying to settle somewhere completely new, which is, again, a similar story to what we're hearing from those people who've left and fled Ukraine?
Yes. You are, when you leave your place, you leave everything you have, okay? And you start some strange kind of life. It's not like, you travel from Paris to DC and stay in DC for years. Okay, this is something that happened in a war. You moved from your place during a war, and you become refugees. And to be refugees in that kind of, situation, it's for all your life. You are a stranger to your own world, and you become a stranger for every world because of all these traumas. And, it happened to me to stay in the United States for 24 years. And after that, I moved to Sarajevo, okay? And Sarajevo, that I remember, okay, it's not anymore same city. These are same buildings and everything, but the cities changed, and I changed. And, return is not possible. That's the second drama of refugee experience.
At least you being here, being able to tell the story, being able to write your book, gives some kind of hope, perhaps, to those people who are in that situation nowadays as well?
Of course, it's very hard to talk about hope right now. But, in a time, things will change. But I don't want to be, to lie. People will live with their own trauma. War is something really tragic. And, when we watch that on TV and when we watch without psychological content, without names, with just the numbers of people killed or removed from the places. You know, it's not like when you see that from inside. From inside, it's huge drama. You know.
And tell us how you were able to tell that story during the book, because it goes on, doesn't it, to reveal what happened to you in the US when you had a heart attack as well.
Yeah, like this book was written, structured it from 3 parts, 3 real events in my life. First one is from 2010. I had a heart attack, okay? And second part is my travel with my son. I traveled because when I moved with a family in the United States, we stayed for months in Phoenix, Arizona. And after that, we moved to DC. And after 15 years, I want to, check my first address in America. And I spent time with my son and, to explore, my own past with him. And third part is part about stroke that happened to my wife. Whole book is, main topic is forgetting and memory.
And how did it help you? I mean, did it help you, I suppose, is the question, be able to come to terms with what happened to you, to be able to write the novel and explain it in that way, in that kind of semi-autobiographical way?
It helped me a lot, just to explain to myself what's happening to me. I as a writer, I was obsessed with memory and remembering and forgetting. And I remember, before it happened in my life, I thought about this and I write about this. We are talking about siege of Sarajevo. What happened in Sarajevo at the beginning, our enemies burned city's library and the Oriental Institute, which means they burn archives, they burned memory of the city. It was a strategy, a political violence strategy. And, all my life as a writer, this is an important topic for me. And also, identity, this, connected part. Like I was in a hospital, and as you saw that, I have that complicated name. And when you have that complicated name, important topic in your writing must be identity. And that was a moment during a surgery. Cardiologists want to communicate with me, but have that struggle to pronounce my name, and he have to find the way how to communicate with me. And he cut my second name from Mehmedinovic to Mehmed, to Mehmed. And from that point, in a way, I start to live it. That was my, real life as a Mehmed. And that book want to say that thing, which means, there is one heart attack, there is a stroke, but this book is not a medical report. This book is, a book about memory, book about identity, and above all, I think this book is a real love story. That's what I think.
It's great to have you with us on the programme, because it's a fascinating read, and I'm sure our viewers will love to get hold of it themselves. It's called My Heart. Today, it seems, was the day I meant to die, as we mentioned at the top there. This is the version in French, Le matin où j'aurais dû mourir. Thanks very much for coming in and talking to us today.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.